It was one of the greatest mysteries of the Middle Ages, an enigma that still captivates historians, conspiracy theorists, and armchair detectives alike. The story begins in the early 14th century, when the mighty Knights Templar, once the most powerful and influential military order in Christendom, vanished without a trace. While most know of the dramatic suppression of the Templars, orchestrated by King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V, few are aware of the even more elusive disappearance of the Templar fleet, an event so shrouded in mystery that no one has ever truly uncovered what happened to those ships. This fleet was no ordinary group of vessels. It wasn't just a military force sent on a campaign, nor was it a simple naval unit of crusading knights. The Templar fleet was the lifeblood of the order, a symbol of their wealth, power, and influence across Europe and beyond. It was also one of the few things that could have potentially saved them from the destruction that was about to come. Yet, despite its significance, the fleet simply vanished. It was as though the sea had swallowed it whole. The Templars were more than just warriors. They were financiers, builders, and custodians of secrets that few outside their inner circle truly understood. Over the course of 2 centuries, the order amassed enormous wealth, established powerful banking systems, and controlled strategic military outposts across the Holy Land in Europe. They were given the responsibility of safeguarding Christian pilgrims, but they also became involved in something far greater: the search for ancient relics and hidden knowledge, including the legendary Holy Grail. For centuries, they held sway over vast tracts of land, powerful kings, and even the Vatican itself. But as their influence grew, so did the suspicion surrounding them. Were they secretly plotting against the Church? Was there more to their wealth and esoteric practices than met the eye? It was in 1307 when the Templars' world began to unravel. King Philip IV of France, deeply indebted to the order and fearful of their growing power, launched a series of brutal raids to arrest Templar leaders, confiscate their vast treasures, and accuse them of heresy. The charges ranged from idol worship to secret blasphemous rituals, but the true motivations behind the attack were likely far more political and financial. The Templars had made powerful enemies, and with King Philip's machinations, they were doomed. On the night of October 13th, 1307, Templar knights were arrested across France, and many were tortured into confessing crimes they had not committed. The Grand Master of the Order, Jacques de Molay, was publicly executed, and in the following years, the Templars were systematically dismantled. But what happened to the Templar fleet, which was supposed to be part of the Templars' military infrastructure, remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. It is said that, just as the Templars were being arrested, their fleet disappeared from the shores of France. Some of the ships had been stationed along the French coast, ready for a naval assault in case the order needed to defend itself. But when the authorities arrived, the ships were gone, vanished. Where did they go? And more importantly, why were they not accounted for in any official records? What purpose did these ships serve, and why did they leave at such a critical moment in history? Over the centuries, various theories have been proposed about the fate of the Templar fleet, and many of them are far more than mere speculation. The idea that the Templars sailed away, perhaps to the New World, has persisted for centuries. Could the fleet have embarked on a journey across the Atlantic, long before the likes of Christopher Columbus set sail? Some suggest that the Templars knew the purge was coming and made preparations to disappear, taking with them not only their wealth, but also the sacred relics they had long guarded, including the Holy Grail. It's possible that these ships carried knowledge, relics, and perhaps even key figures of the order who would continue their secretive mission elsewhere. The lack of any clear evidence about the fleet's fate only deepens the mystery. Historical records offer little information, and most of the accounts we do have are filled with contradictions. Some say the fleet was destroyed by a storm. Others claim it sailed into the Mediterranean, never to be seen again. Still, others suggest that the ships traveled to distant shores, perhaps even to lands that were unknown to Europe at the time. Some believe the fleet could have hidden in the remote corners of Europe, while others think it may have ventured across the Atlantic, possibly reaching the Americas centuries before the so-called Age of Discovery began. But why was the fleet's disappearance never investigated thoroughly? Why did the Church, which was obsessed with stamping out any trace of the Templars, fail to track down their ships or uncover what happened to them? Were the Templars truly destroyed, or did they simply retreat into secrecy, their fleet vanishing as a final act of defiance against the powers that sought to erase them? If the fleet did indeed vanish, it could mean that the Templars were far more prepared for their downfall than anyone realized. They might have known that their destruction was inevitable, but they also might have believed that their mission was too important to end with their deaths. The secrecy surrounding the fleet is not just a footnote in history. It's a deliberate act, designed to ensure that the Templars' most valuable knowledge and treasures remained hidden from the world. If the fleet did sail away, it's possible that they took with them the keys to understanding the mysteries of the ancient world, the hidden history of the Grail, and the secrets of the Templars themselves. These are the questions that still linger today, unanswered and unresolved. The disappearance of the fleet raises another fascinating question. Was the Templar Order truly a religious organization, or was it something much more secretive and powerful? Did the fleet vanish because it held secrets that could change the course of history? In the centuries that followed, the Templars' legacy would continue to be felt. The symbols of the order appeared in Freemasonry and other secret societies, keeping the mystery of the Templars alive in the public imagination. The Church might have wanted to eradicate their existence, but the Templars' story was far from over. And so, we're left with this great mystery. The Templar fleet that disappeared remains one of the most enduring, unsolved puzzles in history. Where did it go, and why has no one been able to find any trace of it? Was it hidden in plain sight, or did it vanish into the unknown, taking the secrets of the past with it? The answers may lie somewhere in the world, waiting to be discovered. But for now, the mystery endures, drawing those who seek to uncover the truth into the deep waters of history, where the Templars' legacy remains as elusive as ever. The story of a Knights Templar is inextricably linked to the rise of the medieval world, and their meteoric ascent from humble beginnings to becoming one of the most powerful and mysterious organizations in history remains a tale of intrigue, ambition, and destiny. The Templars did not rise to prominence by sheer luck, nor were they simply warriors fighting in the Crusades. Their influence transcended military conquest. They were financiers, political strategists, and custodians of some of the most profound mysteries of their time. To understand their legacy and the eventual vanishing of their fleet, one must first look at how the Templars came into existence and why their meteoric rise had such a lasting impact on the world. The origins of the Templars are deeply tied to the early Crusades, which were at their core attempts to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. In 1099, when the First Crusade succeeded in capturing Jerusalem, it was not just a military victory, but also a religious one, driven by a fervent desire to protect Christian pilgrims making their way to the sacred city. However, Jerusalem was still a dangerous place, with a chaotic political situation that made travel perilous. There was an urgent need for an organization that could protect these pilgrims, secure the roads, and maintain order in a region that had seen centuries of conflict. This is where the Templars were born. In 1118, a small group of knights, led by Hugues de Payens, established the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, commonly known as the Knights Templar. Their original mission was simple: provide protection for pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. However, their name, derived from the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem, hints at something deeper. They were not just soldiers. They were stewards of an ancient and mysterious tradition, one that many believe involved esoteric knowledge and sacred relics hidden beneath the temple's ruins. From the outset, the Templars attracted the attention of powerful people. They were granted an unprecedented level of autonomy and privilege, including exemptions from local laws and taxes. But more importantly, they quickly gained the trust of the Church, which saw them as a necessary force to maintain control over the holy sites in Jerusalem. The Templars' religious and military duality made them incredibly effective. They were devout, loyal, and fearless in battle, but they also maintained a strict code of secrecy, discipline, and internal organization. As the Crusades progressed, so did the Templars. They not only became a powerful military force, but their influence spread throughout Europe. Their swift success was not simply due to their military prowess. It was their ability to form networks of alliances, both secular and religious, that made them formidable. With their base of operations in Jerusalem and their vast network of castles and estates across Europe, the Templars quickly amassed wealth through donations, land holdings, and their involvement in banking. The order became a de facto international financial institution, providing loans and facilitating transfers of wealth across borders. This unique combination of military might, religious fervor, and financial acumen gave the Templars a position of unmatched power. By the early 13th century, the Templars had grown so wealthy and influential that they became a law unto themselves. They built their own fortresses across Europe and the Holy Land, each a symbol of their might. Their headquarters, known as the Temple in Jerusalem, became a focal point for the order's secretive activities. However, it was their banking operations that truly set them apart. They developed a sophisticated system of letters of credit, which allowed pilgrims to deposit money in one place and withdraw it in another. This banking system revolutionized the way money was transferred across the medieval world, and it was one of the main reasons the Templars garnered so much influence. But wealth and power come with their own set of problems. As the Templars expanded, they attracted the attention not only of kings and bishops, but also of enemies. While many viewed the Templars as a necessary force for protecting Christian lands, others saw them as a threat, one that could potentially challenge the existing political order. It was in this environment of growing tension that the Templars' most important role began to take shape: the guardianship of secrets. The Templars were often accused of holding onto mysterious knowledge, secrets passed down from ancient times. Some scholars believe that the Templars were connected to ancient mystery schools, and that their work in the Holy Land may have been more than just military in nature. They may have been searching for sacred relics, particularly the Holy Grail, or uncovering forgotten knowledge about the ancient world. As the Crusades continued and the Templars' influence expanded, rumors swirled about their involvement with esoteric rites and rituals, suggesting that they had uncovered something of tremendous significance. The Order's connection to the mysterious Knights of the Round Table and the legends of King Arthur fueled these rumors, with many speculating that the Templars were not only fighting for control of the Holy Land, but for something far older and more powerful. By the time the Templars reached the height of their power in the 12th and early 13th centuries, they had become a secretive brotherhood, dedicated to preserving ancient knowledge while maintaining their image as pious and disciplined knights. This combination of public and private roles gave them a unique position in the medieval world. While they outwardly operated as defenders of the Church, their hidden activities, especially their involvement in the protection of sacred relics and secret knowledge, created a sense of mystery around them that only intensified as their power grew. Their strength, however, would ultimately become their downfall. As the Templars continued to amass wealth and influence, their network of connections grew ever more formidable, and with it, the jealousy of kings and princes. King Philip IV of France, deeply indebted to the Templars and envious of their financial power, began plotting to destroy the order. The growing power of the Templars was seen as a threat to the monarchy, and their secrecy only made them more suspicious. The Templars' refusal to disclose the extent of their wealth, the exact nature of their knowledge, and their mysterious practices only fueled the rumors and conspiracies that surrounded them. The Templars had established themselves as more than just a military order. They had become a symbol of something greater, an organization that controlled wealth, power, and ancient knowledge. But as their influence grew, so did the danger they posed to those who sought to control Europe. The Templars were no longer just a religious order. They had become a force unto themselves, one that threatened the established order. And it was this growing power, their hidden knowledge, and their wealth that would eventually lead to their downfall. The rise of the Templars, marked by their military conquests, financial prowess, and mysterious guardianship of secrets, set the stage for the great mystery that would follow: the sudden and unexplained disappearance of their fleet. At their peak, the Templars were a force beyond their time, and their legacy would continue to shape the world long after their fall. The connection between the Knights Templar and the Holy Grail is one of the most enduring and tantalizing aspects of their legacy. The Grail, that mysterious and sacred object that has captured the imagination of countless generations, was said to be the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper and later used to collect his blood during the crucifixion. To some, the Grail symbolizes a divine power, a vessel that holds not just a physical relic, but the key to ancient, profound knowledge. The Templars' association with the Grail has fueled a mythology that stretches far beyond the medieval period, influencing everything from historical narratives to popular culture. The Templars' connection to the Grail is shrouded in layers of mystery. Some believe that they didn't just protect the Grail, but that they were entrusted with its secrets, possibly even its location. The idea that the Templars held the Grail, or some form of sacred knowledge related to it, is a central theme in many of the theories surrounding their rise and eventual fall. This connection between the Grail and the Templars is not only a matter of legend, but is also tied to a set of historical circumstances that suggest something much more significant than mere myth. The Templars' quest for the Holy Grail is often thought to have begun when they first arrived in Jerusalem during the Crusades. The Knights were granted access to the Temple of Solomon, the ancient site that had been destroyed centuries earlier. According to some accounts, the Templars were instructed to dig beneath the temple's ruins, where they discovered something extraordinary. What exactly they found down there remains unknown, but some believe they uncovered ancient texts, relics, and knowledge that were far older than anything the Church had previously understood. Others speculate that the Grail itself was hidden within the temple and that the Templars came to guard it, not just physically, but spiritually. This mysterious discovery beneath the temple's ruins would have been a catalyst for the Templars' transformation from a relatively humble order into one of the most powerful organizations in the medieval world. The rumors surrounding their newfound knowledge spread quickly, and with it, the belief that the Templars were more than mere warriors. They were the custodians of an ancient and sacred secret. For centuries, the idea of the Holy Grail has been intertwined with tales of divine truth, hidden knowledge, and the pursuit of immortality. The Templars, with their secretive nature, their vast wealth, and their growing influence, became the perfect keepers of such an object. The role of the Grail in Templar lore was not merely about religious devotion. It was about the acquisition of esoteric knowledge. Some believe that the Templars were not just interested in the Grail for its religious significance, but for its potential to unlock hidden wisdom, perhaps even offering a form of enlightenment that could elevate their understanding of the world. The Grail, in this sense, became a symbol of ultimate truth, a key to understanding the divine and the mysteries of the universe. The Templars' pursuit of this knowledge was, in many ways, an intellectual and spiritual endeavor, one that blended religion, mysticism, and the pursuit of hidden wisdom. In the centuries following their establishment, the Templars continued to expand their influence and their role as protectors of the Grail's secret. As they traveled across Europe, they encountered different cultures, some of which were steeped in ancient mystery traditions. The Templars were not only warriors of Christendom, but also custodians of a deeper, esoteric understanding of the world. Their close ties to the Church and their reputation for piety allowed them to move in circles where knowledge, both sacred and profane, was highly coveted. Their success in banking, their involvement in politics, and their control over vast tracts of land were not just the result of their military prowess. They were also the product of their ability to operate as a secret society, one that understood the value of hidden knowledge and the power it could yield. The Grail itself, however, remained elusive. While the Templars became the subjects of countless myths and legends, no concrete evidence has ever surfaced to definitively prove that they possessed the Holy Grail. Many historians argue that the Grail was more symbolic than literal, that it represented a deeper understanding of divine truth, an inner knowledge that could not be easily expressed in physical form. In this sense, the Grail was not just an object to be found, but a path to be followed, a journey of spiritual and intellectual discovery. Over time, as the Templars grew in power, their connection to the Grail became more than just a religious affiliation. It became a symbol of their authority and their mysterious role in history. The belief that the Templars were the keepers of the Grail likely helped cement their influence in both religious and political circles. Their opponents, however, saw them as dangerous and secretive, guarding knowledge that could potentially undermine the established order. For centuries, the Church worked to suppress any knowledge that might challenge its authority, and the Templars, with their hidden knowledge and esoteric practices, were a threat to this carefully maintained power structure. But what happened to the Grail, and did the Templars truly find it? The Church, after all, was heavily invested in erasing any traces of the Templars' power and influence. If the Templars had indeed uncovered the Grail or some form of its knowledge, it could have been viewed as a direct challenge to the authority of the Vatican. It is possible that the Church's decision to dismantle the Templars was driven not just by political or financial motives, but by the fear that the order was in possession of something much greater, something that could shift the balance of power in Europe. In the wake of the Templars' dissolution, many conspiracy theories began to emerge about the Grail's fate. Some claimed that the Templars took the Grail with them, hiding it away in secret locations that have yet to be discovered. Others argue that the Grail was never a physical object, but rather a form of knowledge that the Templars passed down through the ages, preserving its wisdom in secret societies like the Freemasons. The Templars' hidden legacy and their ties to the Grail have since become a cornerstone of modern-day myths and legends, fueling everything from books to movies to speculative theories about the true history of Europe. One of the most intriguing theories suggests that the Templars' fleet, which vanished without a trace in 1307, was part of a grand plan to safeguard the Grail and other sacred relics. According to this theory, the Templars did not merely flee from the impending threat of the Church and King Philip IV. They embarked on a journey to protect the Grail and preserve its knowledge in a location that would remain beyond the reach of their enemies. Could the fleet have sailed to the New World centuries before Columbus? Or did it find refuge in a hidden, secretive location within Europe? The disappearance of the fleet, along with the order's suppression, only fuels the belief that the Templars had a far more profound purpose than merely guarding Jerusalem. Today, the Grail remains one of history's most elusive and symbolic objects. Its connection to the Templars, whether literal or metaphorical, continues to captivate those who seek to uncover the truth behind the mysteries of the past. Did the Templars possess the Grail? Was it a physical relic or a deeper spiritual truth? And if the Grail truly existed, where is it now? These questions continue to haunt the historical record, offering tantalizing glimpses into a lost world of mystery, power, and ancient secrets. The Templars, whether they were the protectors of the Grail or simply a symbol of the pursuit of knowledge, remain one of the most enigmatic and influential forces in the history of the Western world. The fall of the Knights Templar in the early 14th century is a story of betrayal, intrigue, and political maneuvering, a dark chapter that highlights the fragility of power, especially when it is intertwined with religion, wealth, and secrecy. The Templars, once one of the most powerful and influential organizations in Christendom, were brought to their knees not by an external military force, but by internal betrayal and the ruthless ambition of those in power, notably King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V. The sudden and brutal dismantling of the Templar Order in 1307 remains one of the most shocking events in European history, and the motivations behind it are still the subject of intense debate and speculation. At the height of their power, the Templars were an enigmatic force. Their rise to prominence had been rapid and undeniable. Founded during the First Crusade, the Templars grew to dominate the religious and political landscape of Europe. Their knights were revered as pious warriors, their wealth and influence unmatched, and their banking network was the most advanced in the medieval world. They were granted immunity from local laws, exempt from paying taxes, and allowed to operate freely across Christian kingdoms. Their grand architecture, often in the form of imposing castles and fortresses, dotted the landscape from the Holy Land to Europe, and they held vast estates that stretched from Scotland to Spain. However, as with many organizations that accumulate power, the Templars' success became a double-edged sword. The Order's wealth, military might, and growing autonomy were perceived as a threat by both secular monarchs and religious leaders. The Templars' independence, their secretive rituals, and their almost untouchable status made them suspicious in the eyes of both the Church and the monarchy. It was no longer just about defending Christendom or safeguarding pilgrims. It was about control. Their reach was far too broad, and their influence was threatening to those who saw it as a challenge to their own authority. The immediate cause of the Templars' downfall came from an unlikely source. King Philip IV of France, also known as Philip the Fair, a ruler deeply in debt to the Templars, having borrowed enormous sums from them to fund his wars. Philip found himself in a vulnerable position. As the King of France, he wielded considerable influence over the Church, but his financial struggles were mounting, and he found himself desperate for ways to secure the money he needed. In the Templars, he saw an opportunity, both to rid himself of his debt and to eliminate a powerful rival. The Templars, who had grown so wealthy through their banking operations, were a tempting target. But for Philip, the Templars weren't just a source of financial relief. Their influence in France and across Europe threatened his ability to consolidate power, and he needed to eliminate them. Philip's actions were calculated and ruthless. In 1307, he ordered the arrest of all Templar knights in France on charges of heresy, blasphemy, and a variety of other accusations, most of which were fabricated or exaggerated. The accusations ranged from idol worship, homosexual acts, and the denial of Christ, to performing secret and mysterious rituals that were seen as a direct challenge to the Church's authority. These charges were designed to strip the Templars of their power and wealth, and, ultimately, to destroy the Order once and for all. On the night of Friday, October 13th, 1307, an event that would forever be associated with bad luck, Philip's soldiers raided Templar properties throughout France. In a coordinated effort, they seized the knights, their treasures, and their documents. The Grand Master of the Templars, Jacques de Molay, and many other high-ranking members were arrested. But what followed next was even more disturbing. The arrested knights were tortured into confessing crimes they had not committed. Under duress, many of them confessed to the heresies and blasphemous acts that had been invented by their captors. This led to a public trial, which, despite the absence of solid evidence, resulted in many Templars being found guilty of charges they had been coerced into admitting. Jacques de Molay, the Grand Master, was ultimately burned at the stake in 1314, along with several of his fellow knights. His execution was not just a personal punishment. It was a public spectacle designed to send a message to anyone who dared to challenge the authority of King Philip or the Church. But the French king's betrayal of the Templars was only part of the story. Behind the scenes, the papacy played an equally crucial role in the Templars' demise. Pope Clement V, who had been installed as pope in 1305, was deeply beholden to King Philip. The relationship between the French monarchy and the papacy was one of mutual convenience, with Philip exerting significant influence over Clement. It was under Clement's papacy that the formal dissolution of the Templars was carried out. Initially, the Pope was hesitant to take action against the order, especially given their close ties to the Church and the widespread reverence for the knights. But when Philip pressured Clement to take decisive action, the Pope reluctantly agreed. In 1312, Pope Clement issued a papal bull known as Vox in Excelso, which formally suppressed the Templars, bringing an end to their existence as an order. The vast wealth and property of the Templars were seized by the Church, much of it transferred into the hands of other religious orders or secular authorities loyal to the king. The betrayal of the Templars was a monumental event in history, not only because of the way they were destroyed, but because of the lingering questions it raised. Why was such drastic action taken against an order that had, for nearly 2 centuries, been an important part of Christendom? The official narrative put forth by the Church and the French monarchy was that the Templars were guilty of heresy, corruption, and a host of other crimes. But many historians and scholars believe that this was merely a cover-up for deeper political motivations. King Philip's financial struggles and his desire to consolidate power were key factors, but there were also likely other reasons behind the purge. The Templars had access to vast amounts of wealth, and their ability to transfer money across borders without oversight was a critical concern for monarchs like Philip, who had ambitions of controlling all financial transactions in his kingdom. Beyond the political and financial motivations, the Templars' secrecy, their alleged hidden knowledge, and their role as guardians of ancient relics, such as the Holy Grail, may have played a part in their downfall. The Church, which had long worked to suppress any challenges to its authority, may have feared that the Templars' mystical practices and esoteric knowledge posed a threat to its position. By targeting the Templars and suppressing their order, the Church not only silenced a powerful rival, but also ensured that any secrets they held would remain hidden. The power of the Templars, it seems, was not just in their wealth or military prowess, but in the knowledge they guarded, and that, perhaps, was the greatest threat of all. In the end, the Templars were dismantled, but their legacy has not disappeared. Despite the Church's efforts to erase them from history, their name lives on in the myths and legends that continue to swirl around their mysterious disappearance. The suddenness and brutality of their fall, combined with the many unanswered questions surrounding their secretive practices and their knowledge, have ensured that the Knights Templar remain one of history's most enigmatic and intriguing subjects. Even today, theories persist about the Templars' true mission, their hidden treasures, and their role in shaping the course of history. The fall of the Templars, orchestrated by the betrayal of both the King of France and the Pope, was not just the end of an order. It was the beginning of a mystery that is yet to be fully unraveled. The disappearance of the Templar fleet is one of the greatest and most perplexing mysteries in the history of the Middle Ages. It was not just the swift dismantling of a powerful military and religious order. It was the sudden and unexplained vanishing of its most critical asset, its fleet. In 1307, as the Templars were being arrested and executed under the orders of King Philip IV of France, their fleet, which had been stationed along the French coast, simply disappeared. The ships were gone. No wreckage was found. No survivors ever emerged. And no one has ever definitively uncovered what happened to the fleet or where it went. This unexplained event has fueled a vast array of theories, some plausible, some fantastical, about the fate of the Templars and their mysterious fleet. At the time of their arrest, the Templars were a formidable military force, with a fleet capable of conducting naval operations. Their ships had been used in crusades, transporting knights and supplies, guarding the Mediterranean, and providing logistical support to Templar-controlled territories. The fleet was essential to the Templar Order's dominance across Europe and the Holy Land. It represented not only military power, but also a symbol of the Order's vast influence. So when the Templars were arrested, their fleet was left at anchor, awaiting orders from their superiors. But when those orders never came, the fleet, along with its crew, vanished into the mists of history. There are no surviving records to explain the fleet's disappearance. No official documents, no reliable eyewitness accounts, and no concrete evidence have ever surfaced to shed light on this mystery. What is certain, however, is that the fleet's disappearance occurred in the wake of the massive purge that dismantled the Templar Order. Many theories have arisen to explain what might have happened to the fleet, ranging from the plausible to the highly speculative. But the lack of evidence means that no theory can ever be conclusively proven. What happened to the Templar fleet is a question that remains unresolved. One of the most widely discussed theories suggests that the fleet was deliberately hidden, either to protect it from the French authorities or to ensure the survival of the Templar legacy. According to this view, the fleet was not lost, but instead sailed away to a secret location where it could continue its mission, away from the prying eyes of King Philip and the Church. Some believe that the Templar fleet sailed across the Mediterranean, either to one of the many islands that dotted the region or to a distant, hidden port where the knights could regroup and plan their next move. Other theories suggest that the fleet sailed further afield, possibly venturing across the Atlantic to the Americas centuries before Columbus set sail. This idea has been popularized by modern theorists who point to the presence of Templar symbols and architecture in the New World as evidence that the Templars reached the Americas long before European explorers. The theory of a secretive escape to the New World is intriguing, but it is also highly speculative. There is no direct evidence to support the idea that the Templar fleet sailed to the Americas. However, the absence of definitive proof about the fleet's fate has led many to entertain the possibility that the Templars may have fled to an unknown, distant location. In support of this theory, some point to the fact that the Templars were known to possess advanced navigational skills and a network of contacts across the Mediterranean and beyond. The Templars' exceptional maritime capabilities, combined with their vast resources, would have made it possible for them to undertake such a journey, even without the knowledge of the wider European world. Another theory is that the Templar fleet was deliberately scuttled to prevent it from falling into the hands of the French authorities. This theory posits that, rather than fleeing, the Templars made the decision to destroy their own fleet, ensuring that it would never be used against them or recovered by the king. In this scenario, the fleet's disappearance could be explained by the Templars' desire to keep their naval resources out of enemy hands. This would be consistent with the Order's secretive nature and their willingness to take extreme measures to protect their assets, knowledge, and legacy. The scuttling theory is plausible, but does not account for the lack of any physical evidence of wreckage or destruction. If the fleet had been deliberately sunk, it seems unlikely that no trace of the ships would have been found, especially given their size and importance. A more enigmatic theory suggests that the fleet may have been taken to a remote location, hidden in plain sight, and its purpose has been concealed by a conspiracy that continues to this day. According to this theory, the fleet could have been hidden somewhere along the French coastline or in the Mediterranean, but its location has been deliberately kept secret. Over the centuries, the truth about the fleet's fate may have been obscured by those who wished to protect it or prevent its discovery. This theory touches on the idea that the Templars were not just a military order, but a secret society, and their fleet was not merely a tool for war. It was a vessel for preserving hidden knowledge and sacred relics. Some speculate that the fleet was carrying artifacts such as the Holy Grail or ancient manuscripts that were too important to be lost to history. These artifacts, they argue, may have been hidden in plain sight, in a location that is yet to be discovered. The idea that the Templar fleet was a carrier of sacred relics or ancient knowledge adds another layer of mystery to its disappearance. Some researchers believe that the fleet's true mission was not to defend the Holy Land or wage war, but to protect and transport secret knowledge that could change the course of history. According to these theories, the fleet could have been on a journey to deliver these relics to a safe location, away from the influence of the Church and the monarchy. The idea that the Templars were guardians of ancient knowledge, possibly connected to the Grail or other lost artifacts, lends a mystique to the fleet's vanishing. Some even suggest that the fleet was deliberately hidden to prevent its secrets from being uncovered, with the Templars ensuring that their most valuable treasures were preserved for future generations. Another fascinating but highly speculative theory is that the fleet did not vanish at all, but was instead absorbed into other secretive organizations, such as the Freemasons or other secret societies that trace their origins to the Templars. According to this theory, the Templars didn't disappear in the traditional sense. They simply rebranded themselves, continuing their mission under a new guise. The idea that the Templar fleet's legacy lived on through the Freemasons or other esoteric groups is often cited as evidence of a secret history that has been concealed from the public. The symbols and rituals of these societies, some argue, are rooted in Templar traditions and hold clues about the true fate of the fleet. Finally, there's the theory that the fleet did indeed perish, either in a storm or due to some other natural disaster. This theory suggests that the disappearance of the fleet was not the result of a conspiracy or a secret escape plan, but rather a tragic and unremarkable event. A sudden and violent storm could have swept the fleet away, or the ships could have become lost in the vastness of the Mediterranean or Atlantic, their fate sealed by nature rather than human design. While this theory is certainly possible, it fails to account for the lack of wreckage or evidence of a disaster, especially considering the importance of the fleet and the effort that would have been made to recover any lost vessels. The mystery of the vanished Templar fleet remains unresolved, and it is likely that it will never be fully explained. The lack of evidence and the many competing theories surrounding the fleet's fate ensure that it will continue to captivate the imagination of historians, conspiracy theorists, and enthusiasts of lost history. Whether the fleet was hidden away to protect its sacred cargo, scuttled to prevent its capture, or simply lost to the ravages of time, one thing is certain. The disappearance of the Templar fleet is an enduring enigma, one that continues to beckon those who seek to uncover the hidden truths of the past. The fall of the Knights Templar in the early 14th century might have marked the official end of the order, but their legacy did not vanish with them. The suppression of the Templars by King Philip IV and Pope Clement V may have eradicated the formal organization, but it did not erase their influence. Over the centuries, the Templars' memory and the mystery surrounding them have endured, transforming them into one of the most influential and enigmatic symbols in history. From secret societies to popular culture, the Templar legacy continues to resonate, shaping everything from modern conspiracies to the rituals of contemporary Freemasonry. The collapse of the Templar Order was not the end of their story. It was merely the beginning of a new phase in their mythic existence. What makes the Templar legacy so enduring is the combination of their perceived secrecy, their vast influence, and the wealth of legends surrounding them. In the centuries following their dissolution, the Templars became the subject of intense fascination, their stories steeped in myth, rumor, and conspiracy. Far from being a historical footnote, their name became synonymous with secret knowledge, hidden treasure, and occult power. Perhaps the most enduring aspect of the Templar legacy is their supposed connection to the esoteric. The Templars were widely believed to possess secret knowledge, wisdom passed down from ancient times, perhaps even from the times of the Crusades. The Order's mysterious rituals, their secretive nature, and their involvement in the search for relics like the Holy Grail fueled the belief that they were guardians of a powerful and forbidden knowledge. This connection to the occult became the cornerstone of many subsequent conspiracies and theories that would span centuries. In the aftermath of their dissolution, the Templars' esoteric legacy found new expression through organizations such as the Freemasons, which emerged in the 16th and 17th centuries. Many Masonic traditions and rituals, including their use of Templar symbols and their focus on the idea of secret knowledge, were said to have been directly inspired by the Knights Templar. The Freemasons, an organization that would go on to influence political, social, and cultural movements across the world, became a key vehicle for the preservation of Templar symbolism and rituals. The Masonic connection to the Templars has been the subject of extensive speculation, with many believing that the Freemasons are the modern heirs to the Templars, continuing their work in secret. Whether or not this is true, the link between these two organizations has captivated historians and conspiracy theorists for centuries. Another enduring part of the Templar legacy is their supposed involvement in the mysteries of the Holy Grail. While no physical evidence has ever been found to confirm the Templars' role as guardians of the Grail, the idea that they were involved in protecting the relic has become a central tenet of the Templar mythos. The Grail, an object believed to hold divine power, has been the subject of countless theories over the centuries. Some claim that the Templars discovered the Grail in Jerusalem, or that they were entrusted with it after the fall of the Crusader kingdoms. According to these theories, the Templars took the Grail with them when they fled from the French authorities, hiding it in secret locations or even taking it across the seas to the Americas. The search for the Holy Grail remains one of the most enduring quests in history, and the Templars' connection to it has fueled this ongoing fascination. The allure of the Templars is not just limited to their supposed mystical or religious knowledge. Over the centuries, the Templars' wealth and political influence have also been the subject of intrigue. The Templars were not just a military order. There were bankers, financiers, and political players who controlled vast tracts of land across Europe. Their banking system, which allowed them to transfer wealth across the continent with remarkable efficiency, made them one of the most powerful financial institutions in the medieval world. This combination of military might, wealth, and secrecy made the Templars a powerful force, and their fall left behind a legacy of hidden wealth. For centuries, treasure hunters, historians, and adventurers have sought to uncover the lost riches of the Templars. While no conclusive evidence has ever been found, the idea of hidden Templar treasures has been a driving force behind many treasure hunts and historical investigations. It is widely believed that the Templars' wealth, whether in the form of gold, manuscripts, or sacred relics, was hidden away in secret locations, possibly even on distant shores like the New World. This idea of hidden treasure became an integral part of the Templar mythos. In the centuries following their dissolution, many legends emerged about the Templars' secret vaults, hidden within their castles and fortresses. Some claim that these vaults contain not only material wealth, but also valuable documents and manuscripts, texts that could reveal the true purpose of the Templars, the extent of their secret knowledge, and perhaps even the location of the Holy Grail itself. The notion of the Templars leaving behind such treasures only added to their mystique, and it has driven numerous expeditions and investigations into Templar sites across Europe, particularly in countries like France, Scotland, and Portugal. The Templar legacy is also deeply embedded in popular culture. From novels like the Da Vinci Code to films like Indiana Jones and National Treasure, the Templars have become synonymous with adventure, mystery, and secret knowledge. In many ways, the popular portrayal of the Templars in media has contributed to their continued relevance in the public imagination. These depictions often draw upon the themes of hidden treasures, secret societies, and ancient knowledge that have been associated with the Templars for centuries. While these portrayals may not be historically accurate, they have nonetheless cemented the Templars as a symbol of mystery and intrigue. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the Templar legend began to be absorbed into the broader fabric of conspiracy theories and occultism. Many groups and individuals began to claim direct descent from the Templars, establishing organizations that purported to carry on the order's mission. These so-called Templar orders often adopted the symbols and rituals of the original Knights Templar, and they became a fixture in the world of occult societies. These modern Templar groups often presented themselves as guardians of secret knowledge, continuing the Templars' alleged mission of preserving ancient wisdom. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Templar legacy is its connection to the ongoing search for truth. Throughout the centuries, the mystery of the Templars has inspired a wide range of theories about hidden knowledge, lost civilizations, and the true nature of history itself. Some researchers claim that the Templars were involved in uncovering ancient secrets that have been concealed from the public, secrets that could alter our understanding of the world. These theories often tie the Templars to other mysteries, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Ark of the Covenant, and the ancient knowledge of the Egyptians. For many, the Templars represent a bridge between the ancient world and the modern age, a link to a forgotten history that holds the key to understanding the true nature of human existence. The Templar legacy also continues to resonate in the world of Freemasonry, a secret society that has long been associated with the Templars. While there is no direct evidence to link the two organizations, many Masonic traditions draw heavily upon Templar symbolism, rituals, and mythology. The Freemasons' use of Templar symbols like the square and compass, along with their emphasis on secrecy and the pursuit of hidden knowledge, has led some to believe that the Freemasons are the spiritual successors of the Templars. This connection between the two organizations has been the subject of extensive speculation and has fueled numerous conspiracy theories about the hidden history of the Templars and their supposed ongoing influence in modern society. From secretive societies to popular fiction, the Templar legacy has endured through the centuries, evolving into a powerful symbol of mystery, knowledge, and power. The disappearance of the Templar fleet, the fall of the Order, and the legends of hidden treasures and secret knowledge have ensured that the Templars remain an enduring part of our collective consciousness. Whether as a symbol of religious devotion, esoteric wisdom, or the quest for hidden treasures, the legacy of the Knights Templar continues to inspire and captivate the world. And in the search for answers to their most enduring mysteries, the Templars' story is far from over. It remains a tale that stretches across time, echoing through history with whispers of secrets yet to be uncovered. Maps, both literal and metaphorical, have always played a crucial role in the mystique surrounding the Knights Templar. While their fame is primarily associated with their military prowess during the Crusades, it is their secretive activities, particularly in the realms of treasure and lost knowledge, that have fueled much of their enduring legend. The Templars were not just soldiers. They were also custodians of some of the most valuable knowledge in the medieval world. It is believed that they carried with them maps, both physical and symbolic, that contained the secrets of sacred sites, hidden treasures, and even routes to mysterious locations far beyond the scope of contemporary knowledge. These maps, many of which have since been lost, are said to have been vital to the Templars' mission. Yet, the mystery of what these maps might reveal is still a tantalizing question that continues to intrigue historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters alike. The Templar Order was founded during the First Crusade in the early 12th century, with the goal of protecting Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. However, as the Templars grew in power and influence, their role shifted from that of protectors to something far more enigmatic. They established a network of castles, estates, and fortresses across Europe and the Holy Land. And over time, it became clear that their operations extended well beyond mere military pursuits. The Templars were involved in banking, trade, and, most significantly, the preservation and transportation of secret knowledge. It is during this period of expansion and intrigue that the concept of Templar maps begins to take shape. It is said that the Templars, especially in the years after their arrival in the Holy Land, came into contact with ancient and lost knowledge. Whether this knowledge was rooted in pre-Christian traditions, ancient Middle Eastern wisdom, or even the legendary lore of the Grail, remains unclear. However, it is widely believed that the Templars used maps to record their findings and, more importantly, to safeguard these secrets. Some of these maps were believed to contain not just geographical information, but also encoded symbols and hidden messages. These maps were thought to direct the Templars to sacred locations, sites that were believed to hold hidden treasures or divine relics. One of the most enduring legends about Templar maps is their connection to the Holy Grail, with some theorists suggesting that the maps were intended to guide the Templars to its hiding place, or perhaps even to the vaults of ancient wisdom hidden beneath sacred sites. The famous Pyre Reis map, which dates back to the early 16th century, has been cited by many researchers and conspiracy theorists as evidence of Templar knowledge. The map, drawn by the Ottoman Admiral Pyre Reis, shows a remarkably accurate depiction of the South American coast and, most notably, Antarctica, an area that was believed to be uncharted at the time. The accuracy of the map has led some to speculate that the Templars were not only skilled navigators, but were also privy to ancient geographical knowledge. According to some theories, the Templars may have sailed to the Americas long before Christopher Columbus, guided by maps that were part of their extensive collection of ancient documents. These maps would have shown not only the known world of their time, but also distant lands that were previously unknown to European explorers. The idea that the Templars might have ventured to the Americas is part of the larger mystery surrounding their lost fleet, with some suggesting that the Templars used these maps to navigate to the New World, hiding there to escape persecution by the Church and the French monarchy. The Pyre Reis map, while certainly intriguing, is only one example of the type of cartographic mystery that surrounds the Templars. Other documents, maps, and manuscripts have surfaced over the centuries, some of which appear to support the idea that the Templars were privy to ancient knowledge far beyond what was available to most of their contemporaries. The Vinland map, a controversial and debated artifact, is another example of a map that some believe contains evidence of Templar exploration. The map, which depicts a part of North America, was allegedly created by Templar navigators in the early 14th century, long before the Norse were thought to have established settlements in the region. If genuine, the Vinland map would provide further evidence that the Templars may have traveled to the Americas, perhaps as part of a larger effort to preserve and protect sacred knowledge, including the Holy Grail and other religious relics. The significance of these maps is not just in their geographic accuracy, but also in their symbolism. Many researchers believe that the Templars encoded their secrets into the very structure of the maps. Some maps, for example, feature strange markings, symbols, or hidden messages that appear to be in code. Some of these codes may have been intended to protect the locations of sacred sites, hidden treasure, or secret vaults. Others suggest that the Templars used these maps to mark out paths to places of mystical significance, possibly related to the Grail or other important artifacts. The use of symbolism and hidden messages was a hallmark of Templar practice, and their maps may have served not only as guides to geographical locations, but also as spiritual roadmaps to hidden knowledge. One of the most famous examples of Templar maps, or at least of maps associated with Templar lore, is the so-called Rosslyn Chapel map. Rosslyn Chapel, located in Scotland, has long been associated with the Templars due to its intricate carvings and mysterious symbolism. According to some researchers, the chapel itself is a kind of map in stone, with its carvings and architectural features supposedly pointing the way to hidden knowledge. Some have gone as far as to suggest that Rosslyn Chapel was built to house the Holy Grail, with the chapel's layout being a physical representation of a map leading to the relic. The story of the Grail is intertwined with the Templar myth, and the chapel is often cited as a crucial location in the search for the Grail and other sacred Templar artifacts. The idea that the Templars hid their knowledge in plain sight is a compelling one, especially when you consider how the order operated in secret for much of its history. The Templars were known for their complex rituals, and their use of symbols, codes, and hidden messages was integral to their operations. The notion that they encoded their secrets into maps or monuments fits well with this tradition of secrecy. The maps themselves may have been more than mere navigational tools. They were also part of a larger system of esoteric knowledge. According to some theories, the Templars used their maps not just for practical purposes, but as part of a larger spiritual journey, guiding those who sought to uncover hidden truths toward a higher understanding of the world and the divine. Despite the allure of these Templar maps, the reality is that much of this knowledge has been lost to history. While there are numerous examples of maps that claim to be linked to the Templars, many of them remain speculative, with their origins and authenticity often unclear. Some maps, like the Pyrie Reis map and the Vinland map, are the subject of intense debate among historians and scholars, and their connection to the Templars remains unproven. However, the very existence of such maps, whether genuine or apocryphal, serves as a testament to the enduring mystery surrounding the Templars and their legacy. If the Templars did possess maps that guided them to hidden treasures, sacred sites, or the Holy Grail, it is likely that much of this knowledge has been lost to time, either through deliberate suppression or simple historical neglect. The Templar maps, however, continue to inspire modern-day treasure hunters, historians, and adventurers who believe that the hidden locations they point to may one day be uncovered. Some researchers continue to search for these lost maps, believing that they hold the key to uncovering the Templars' most profound secrets. Whether these maps contain the truth about the Grail, ancient treasures, or long-forgotten wisdom remains an open question, but the allure of the Templars' secret knowledge continues to captivate those who seek to unravel the mysteries of the past. In the end, the Templar maps are more than just physical objects. They are symbols of a deeper, ongoing quest for hidden knowledge. Whether they were used to locate hidden treasures, sacred sites, or lost wisdom, they represent the Templars' connection to a higher, secretive understanding of the world. These maps, with their cryptic symbols and mysterious markings, serve as a reminder that some of the greatest truths in history are still hidden, waiting to be discovered by those who are willing to embark on the journey to uncover them. The story of a Knights Templar is not just a tale of military prowess. religious fervor, and secret knowledge. It is also, in many ways, intertwined with the Arthurian legends, the enduring myths of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. While these legends are often considered to be works of fiction or folklore, their themes of chivalry, hidden knowledge, sacred quests, and divine protection resonate deeply with the ethos of the Templars. Many theories suggest that the Templars were not merely influenced by the Arthurian tales, but were actively involved in preserving or even enacting the hidden truths contained within them. The links between the Templars and the Knights of the Round Table are more than just symbolic. They're deeply embedded in the narrative of medieval history and mystery, offering an intriguing possibility that the Templars saw themselves as modern-day counterparts to these legendary figures. At the heart of the Arthurian legends is the idea of a sacred quest, the search for the Holy Grail, the legendary cup said to possess divine powers. This Grail quest, central to many of the Arthurian tales, bears striking similarities to the Templars' own mission. The Order of the Templars, after all, was founded with the purpose of protecting pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land and safeguarding sacred Christian relics, including the Holy Grail. The similarities between the Templar mission and the Grail quest suggest that the Templars may have seen themselves as part of a long tradition of knights devoted to the protection of divine knowledge and relics. Some researchers argue that the Templars were directly inspired by the Arthurian legend, seeing themselves as the inheritors of the same sacred mission. The connection between the Grail and the Templars is one of the most enduring themes in the history of the Order. While there is no concrete evidence to prove that the Templars possessed the Holy Grail, there are countless theories and legends that suggest the Order may have been in possession of this sacred relic. The Templars' mysterious activities in the Holy Land, their secretive nature, and their focus on relics, sacred knowledge, and spiritual quests have all contributed to the belief that they were the true guardians of the Grail. The association between the Templars and the Grail has its roots in medieval literature. One of the earliest known references to the Templar-Grail connection appears in The Quest of the Holy Grail, a 12th-century Arthurian romance that forms part of the Lancelot Grail cycle. In this story, the Grail is a sacred vessel that can only be found by the purest of knights. The Templars, with their strict codes of conduct, warrior ethos, and religious devotion, fit the mold of these legendary knights who were tasked with protecting the Grail and embarking on a divine mission. In some versions of the tale, the Grail is hidden in a secret location, and only a select few, those with the knowledge or the spiritual purity to find it, can succeed in the quest. This notion of hidden or esoteric knowledge fits perfectly with the mysteries surrounding the Templars, whose secrets were, for centuries, concealed from the public eye. The connection between the Templars and the Round Table extends beyond the realm of legend. The concept of a chivalric order, knights who swear an oath to defend the realm, protect the weak, and uphold the values of honor and integrity, is central to both the Arthurian and Templar ideals. King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table were legendary not only for their prowess in battle, but also for their unwavering commitment to a higher cause. Similarly, the Templars were seen as not just warriors, but as protectors of divine truth. Their mission was not simply to conquer or defend. It was to preserve the sacred and the secret. This ideal of the chivalric order, as defenders of both the physical and the spiritual realms, aligns closely with the Templars' self-perception and the way they conducted their operations, especially in their quest for sacred relics and hidden knowledge. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Templar and Arthurian connection is the shared symbolism between the two. For example, the Round Table itself is a symbol of equality and unity, a fellowship of knights bound together by a common cause. The Templars, too, were united by a common cause: the defense of Christianity, the protection of pilgrims, and the safeguarding of sacred relics. The idea of the Round Table has been interpreted as a representation of an idealized, almost utopian society in which each knight is equal, each serving a higher purpose. This notion of unity and purpose can also be found within the Templar Order, where the knights, despite their individual ranks and responsibilities, were all united under the same cause. In some versions of the Arthurian tales, The Knights are portrayed as protectors of hidden knowledge, including the Grail and other sacred texts. These knights were entrusted with guarding secrets that were believed to be beyond the comprehension of ordinary people, knowledge that had the power to change the course of history. The Templars, similarly, were seen as guardians of ancient knowledge. Whether or not they possessed the Holy Grail itself, the Templars were thought to have access to esoteric wisdom that was hidden from the rest of society. The connection between the Arthurian Knights and the Templars, therefore, lies not just in their shared ideals, but also in their roles as custodians of sacred knowledge. The influence of the Arthurian legends on the Templar Order was not limited to literature and symbolism. Many scholars have noted the architectural similarities between Templar sites and the castles and fortresses associated with Arthurian tales. The Templars built a series of castles and fortresses throughout the Holy Land, many of which were designed with an almost mystical purpose in mind. These structures were not just military outposts. They were places of spiritual and esoteric significance. The Templars were known to have constructed these fortifications in ways that reflected their deep connection to sacred geometry and hidden knowledge. The round shape of the Templar chapel at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, for example, mirrors the concept of the round table in Arthurian lore. This architectural symbolism suggests that the Templars saw themselves as modern-day knights dedicated to a sacred mission, much like the legendary figures of King Arthur's court. In addition to their architectural and symbolic connections, the Templars and the Arthurian Knights share a focus on the ideals of knightly chivalry. These ideals were rooted in Christian principles, particularly the notion of self-sacrifice, humility, and devotion to a higher cause. The Arthurian Knights, despite their martial prowess, were often depicted as humble and selfless, willing to lay down their lives in pursuit of a noble and divine purpose. Similarly, the Templars were not just soldiers. They were monks, sworn to live a life of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Their chivalric code was founded upon the belief that they were fighting for a greater purpose, one that transcended the physical world and reached into the spiritual realm. The Templars' commitment to their code of conduct, as well as their focus on higher ideals, mirrors the ideals of King Arthur and his knights. The Templar-Arthurian connection also extends into the modern-day search for hidden knowledge and treasure. The idea of the Templars protecting sacred relics, including the Grail, has sparked centuries of speculation about the existence of hidden treasures. Some believe that the Templars, in their efforts to safeguard the Grail and other divine artifacts, may have hidden these relics in secret locations. These locations, it is believed, could hold the key to understanding the deeper mysteries of life, knowledge, and the divine. The modern obsession with treasure hunting and the quest for lost knowledge, often associated with Templar symbols and rituals, can be traced back to the Arthurian legends, which have long been associated with the search for the Grail and other hidden treasures. The Templar-Arthurian connection is not just a matter of historical interest. It is a powerful and enduring symbol of the quest for truth, the pursuit of higher knowledge, and the defense of sacred ideals. The Templars, like the Knights of the Round Table, saw themselves as part of a divine mission, one that transcended the boundaries of earthly power and sought to protect the hidden truths of the universe. Whether or not the Templars were directly involved in the Arthurian legends is uncertain, but the parallels between the two are undeniable. The Templars, like the Knights of the Round Table, remain symbols of a higher calling, dedicated to the preservation of sacred knowledge and the protection of the divine. As such, the legacy of the Templars and their connection to the Arthurian myths continues to inspire and captivate the imaginations of those who seek to uncover the hidden truths of the past. The arrest of the Knights Templar in 1307 marked the beginning of the order's dramatic fall from grace, a fall that still reverberates through history today. What happened to the Templars in the months and years following their arrests remains a subject of deep mystery and speculation. The trials, which unfolded in the shadow of political intrigue, religious corruption, and betrayal, were among the most significant and brutal in medieval history. While the Church and the French monarchy claimed to have legitimate reasons for dissolving the Templar Order, there are still questions that persist. Why were the Templars arrested in such an unprecedented and sweeping manner? Why were so many confessions extracted under duress? And why did the Templars never fully recover from the scandal and destruction? Were they truly guilty of the charges leveled against them? Or were they simply victims of a larger conspiracy, one that involved not only the Church, but also powerful secular forces? These questions, which have lingered for centuries, continue to intrigue historians, conspiracy theorists, and modern-day researchers. The Templar trials were set in motion by the orders of King Philip IV of France, also known as Philip the Fair. Philip's motives for targeting the Templars are often considered to have been driven by personal and political considerations. At the time, Philip was heavily in debt to the Templars, who had been lending him vast sums of money for years. As a monarch, Philip had already been in conflict with the papacy, and he saw an opportunity to neutralize both the Templars and their influence. By bringing down the Templar order, he would not only eliminate a major source of his financial strain, but he would also gain control over their vast wealth and lands. The papacy, led by Pope Clement V, was under pressure from Philip to comply with his demands, and in 1307, Pope Clement authorized the arrest of the Templars in France, marking the beginning of the order's systematic destruction. The initial arrests were carried out with shocking efficiency. On the night of October 13th, 1307, the Templars were arrested across France in a coordinated operation. The French monarchy seized the assets of the order, while the knights themselves were imprisoned and tortured. The accusations leveled against them were as serious as they were bizarre. The Templars were charged with heresy, idol worship, blasphemy, and even sexual immorality. These charges were not based on any concrete evidence, but rather on confessions obtained through brutal torture. Many of the Templars were coerced into admitting to practices such as spitting on the cross, engaging in homosexual acts, and worshiping a mysterious idol called Baphomet, a figure that has since become associated with dark, occult practices. These confessions were highly dubious, with many knights later retracting their statements, claiming that they had been forced under torture to say things they did not believe. Despite the lack of evidence, the trials proceeded. The Templars were judged by ecclesiastical courts, and many of them were condemned as heretics. In 1312, the papacy officially dissolved the Templar order, and their lands and property were handed over to other organizations, particularly the Knights Hospitaller, a rival knightly order. The fate of the Templars was sealed, but the damage had already been done. Their reputation was forever tarnished, and many of the knights were executed, burned at the stake, or disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The historical record remains unclear on the exact fate of all the Templars, and many questions remain unanswered. What happened to the remaining Templars after the dissolution of the order? Were they secretly integrated into other groups, such as the Freemasons or other secret societies? Did some escape to distant lands, carrying with them the wealth and secrets of the order? One of the most enigmatic aspects of the Templar trials is the question of the so-called confessions extracted from the knights. The confessions, which were central to the charges brought against the Templars, were not only bizarre, but also highly inconsistent. Some of the knights admitted to engaging in forbidden rituals, while others denied the charges altogether. The discrepancy between the confessions and the retractions that followed raises significant doubts about the veracity of the accusations. Were the Templars truly guilty of the charges leveled against them, or were they simply victims of political and religious persecution? The fact that many of the knights later recanted their confessions suggests that their guilt was far from certain. In fact, it is widely believed that the confessions were extracted under duress, with the use of torture and intimidation. This raises the possibility that the Templars were unfairly targeted and subjected to a campaign of destruction that was politically motivated, rather than based on genuine criminal activity. Another question that remains unanswered is the fate of the Templar treasure. The Templars were known to be extremely wealthy, with vast holdings across Europe, including land, property, and money. When the French monarchy seized their assets, the treasure of the Templars seemingly vanished. Some believe that the Templars managed to hide their wealth before the arrests took place, with the treasure being hidden in secret locations, perhaps on remote islands or in hidden vaults. The idea of a hidden Templar treasure has been a subject of fascination for centuries, and various treasure hunters have attempted to uncover it, often focusing on locations such as the island of Oak Island in Canada, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, or the Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland. Despite numerous attempts, no one has ever conclusively found the Templar treasure. Its existence remains one of the most tantalizing aspects of the Templar mythos. The question of the Templars' true purpose is another area of mystery. Some historians argue that the Templars were simply a medieval military order devoted to the defense of Christendom and the protection of pilgrims. However, many others believe that the order had a far more complex and esoteric agenda. Were the Templars really just a military order, or were they part of a larger secret society, tasked with preserving ancient knowledge and protecting sacred relics? Some theories suggest that the Templars were guardians of the Holy Grail, or that they were involved in the protection of other important religious artifacts. This connection to the Grail and other sacred relics has fueled numerous conspiracy theories over the centuries, with some believing that the Templars were actively involved in a spiritual quest for hidden knowledge, far beyond the mission of any ordinary military order. The Templar trials and the subsequent dissolution of the order have left behind a legacy of unanswered questions. Despite the official verdict of heresy and the destruction of the Templar order, the mystery surrounding the Templars has only deepened with time. Were they really guilty of the charges leveled against them? Or were they simply victims of a larger political conspiracy? What happened to their treasure and their secrets? And most importantly, what was the true purpose of the Templars, and why did they seem so intent on protecting certain sacred relics and knowledge? These questions remain unresolved, but they continue to captivate the imaginations of those who seek to uncover the hidden truths of the past. The Templar trials were not just a historical event. They were the catalyst for centuries of speculation, intrigue, and mystery. The shadow of the Templars' fall still hangs over modern-day conspiracies, treasure hunts, and searches for lost knowledge. The unanswered questions of the Templar trials have ensured that the Order's legacy remains as enigmatic today as it was in the early 14th century. Whether the Templars were truly guilty or the victims of a larger conspiracy, their story has endured, leaving behind a trail of secrets waiting to be uncovered. The connection between the Knights Templar and the Freemasons is one of the most persistent and fascinating theories that has emerged over the centuries. The idea that the Freemasons are the true inheritors of the Templar legacy is a theory that has captured the imaginations of many throughout history, spawning countless books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories. But is there any truth to the notion that the Freemasons are directly descended from the Templars? Were the Masons, with their secret rituals, symbolism, and obscure traditions, simply the modern manifestation of an ancient order of knights sworn to protect hidden knowledge? While the historical evidence to support this theory is scant, the parallels between the two organizations are undeniable, and they have formed the basis of a lasting myth that continues to intrigue those who seek to uncover the hidden links between the Templars and the Freemasons. The story begins with the fall of the Templars in the early 14th century. The order, once one of the most powerful and wealthy organizations in Christendom, was systematically destroyed by King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V in a series of arrests, trials, and executions that began in 1307. With the dissolution of the Templar order, many of the knights were executed, their assets seized, and their sacred knowledge thought to be lost. However, the idea that the Templars simply disappeared has always been a point of contention. While many believe that the Templars were eradicated, others have long suggested that the order's secrets were preserved by a select few who either escaped persecution or went underground, continuing their work in secret. It is from this premise that the theory of the Templars' connection to the Freemasons arises. The roots of Freemasonry as a formal organization date back to the late 16th century, though the origins of the Masonic traditions are shrouded in mystery. The organization as it exists today began to take shape with the establishment of Grand Lodges in Europe, particularly in England and Scotland, during the late 16th and early 17th centuries. The Freemasons, originally a guild of stonemasons, gradually expanded their membership to include individuals from various professions, and over time, their focus shifted from the construction of buildings to the pursuit of knowledge, morality, and the fostering of brotherhood. Freemasonry became an organization dedicated to personal improvement and enlightenment, with its members bound together by common rituals, symbols, and oaths. Yet, despite its ostensibly benign nature, the Freemasons have long been the subject of speculation and controversy, particularly regarding their supposed ties to the Templars. One of the most compelling arguments for the connection between the Templars and the Freemasons is the use of similar symbols and rituals. The Freemasons are known for their elaborate ceremonies and the use of symbols such as the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and the letter G. These symbols are said to have deep esoteric meanings, representing moral lessons, divine truth, and the search for hidden knowledge. While these symbols have become synonymous with Freemasonry, some researchers have pointed out that many of them also appear in the iconography of the Templars. For example, the Templars were known to use a similar cross, which bears a striking resemblance to the modern Masonic symbol of the square and compass. The idea of hidden knowledge and secret rituals, which lies at the heart of Freemasonry, also mirrors the Templars' own mystical and esoteric traditions. One of the key elements that links the Templars to the Freemasons is the concept of secret knowledge, or hidden wisdom. The Templars were believed to possess knowledge passed down from ancient civilizations, including wisdom related to the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and other sacred relics. Some theories suggest that the Templars were not only protectors of these artifacts, but were also the keepers of ancient, forbidden knowledge that could alter the course of history. This notion of secret wisdom closely parallels the Masonic tradition of esoteric teachings, which are said to be imparted only to those who are deemed worthy. Many Masonic rituals involve the transmission of symbolic teachings and moral lessons, which are thought to lead the initiate closer to an understanding of higher truths. This shared focus on hidden knowledge and spiritual enlightenment has led some to believe that the Freemasons inherited these traditions directly from the Templars, who, after the order's official dissolution, continued to preserve their sacred wisdom in secret. Another link between the Templars and the Freemasons is the use of similar architectural and geometric symbols. The Templars, as warriors and builders, were closely associated with the construction of castles and fortresses during their time in the Holy Land. They were also known to have a deep understanding of sacred geometry, which they applied to their architectural designs. Some researchers believe that the Templars used sacred geometry not only in their construction projects, but also as a way to encode hidden knowledge into the very structures they built. The Freemasons, who were originally stone masons and architects, continued this tradition by incorporating geometric principles into their own symbols and rituals. The idea of using geometry and architecture as a means of transmitting knowledge is a common thread that connects the two organizations. Additionally, the idea of a secret society bound by oath and ritual is central to both the Templars and the Freemasons. Both organizations require their members to take solemn vows of secrecy and to adhere to strict codes of conduct. The Templars were notorious for their secretive nature, and many of their rituals and practices were not made public, even after their downfall. Similarly, Freemasonry is known for its private meetings and the secrecy surrounding its rituals. New initiates are sworn to secrecy and are not allowed to reveal the details of Masonic ceremonies to outsiders. This commitment to secrecy has led some to speculate that Freemasonry inherited the Templar tradition of guarding secret knowledge, and that the Masons' elaborate rituals are simply a modern-day version of the Templar ceremonies. The theory that the Freemasons are the spiritual descendants of the Templars is not without controversy, and many scholars argue against any direct connection between the two. One of the key pieces of evidence cited by critics is the fact that the Freemasons did not come into prominence until over 2 centuries after the fall of the Templars. Additionally, There is little direct historical evidence to suggest that any surviving Templars ever integrated into the Masonic lodges. While it is true that the Masons adopted certain symbols and rituals that bear a resemblance to Templar iconography, many of these symbols were not unique to the Templars and were widely used in medieval Christian and pagan traditions. Furthermore, the Freemasons themselves have always maintained that their organization is not a continuation of the Templars, but rather an independent brotherhood dedicated to the principles of enlightenment, personal improvement, and social responsibility. Despite these objections, the idea of a Templar-Freemason connection continues to captivate the popular imagination. The fascination with the Templars, combined with the mystery surrounding the Freemasons, has fueled numerous conspiracy theories, many of which suggest that the Freemasons possess knowledge that was passed down from the Templars and that they continue to guard this knowledge to this day. Some of these theories posit that the Freemasons are involved in a vast, global conspiracy, working behind the scenes to shape world events and protect hidden truths. These theories have been popularized in books, films, and documentaries, and they have contributed to the mystique surrounding both organizations. The connection between the Templars and the Freemasons is a topic that continues to inspire both historical research and speculative fiction. Whether or not the Freemasons are the direct inheritors of the Templar legacy, the shared symbols, rituals, and ideals between the two organizations suggest a deeper connection to ancient traditions of secrecy, wisdom, and spiritual enlightenment. The Freemasons, like the Templars before them, continue to operate as a society bound by secret knowledge and oaths of secrecy. Whether they are truly the heirs of the Templars or simply part of a larger tradition of secret societies, the Freemasons remain an enduring symbol of the mystery and allure that surrounds the Templar Order. Their rituals, their symbols, and their commitment to hidden knowledge ensure that the legacy of the Templars lives on in the modern world, even if the true nature of their connection remains a matter of speculation and intrigue. The Knights Templar have long been associated with mysticism, secret knowledge, and occult practices, although much of this association is based on speculation, myth, and conspiracy theories. The Order's secrecy, combined with its wealth, power, and influence, has made it a subject of fascination for generations. One of the most persistent elements in the lore surrounding the Templars is the belief that they were not just a military order, but also stewards of hidden spiritual knowledge that was tied to ancient esoteric traditions, occult practices, and perhaps even forbidden religious rites. But what exactly were the Templars involved in when it comes to the mystical and occult? And to what extent did these elements truly shape their beliefs and actions? Exploring the Templars' possible connections to the occult provides an intriguing, albeit speculative, avenue into understanding their enduring mystery. The Templars were founded in 1119 during the First Crusade, ostensibly to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem and to defend the Holy Land from Muslim forces. While their military role was critical, it was their subsequent expansion into banking, architecture, and landholding that allowed the order to grow exponentially in both wealth and influence. However, as they became more powerful, some began to speculate that the Templars were hiding something far greater than simple military or financial interests. The Templars' interactions with the mystical traditions of the East, their access to sacred Christian relics, and their enigmatic rituals fueled the idea that they were involved in far more than just the defense of Christendom. One of the most enduring and fascinating aspects of Templar mythology is their supposed connection to the Holy Grail, a relic believed by many to possess supernatural powers. The Grail is a central element in Arthurian legend, and the idea that the Templars were guarding or even searching for the Grail has been popularized in numerous books, films, and documentaries. In some versions of the story, the Grail is not just a physical artifact, but also a symbol of hidden wisdom or divine knowledge that transcends earthly understanding. According to some theories, the Templars, having been stationed in the Holy Land for nearly 2 centuries, came into contact with secret, ancient traditions that were connected to the Grail, including Gnostic beliefs, Kabbalah, and the mystical practices of the ancient Egyptians and other pre-Christian civilizations. One of the most compelling theories linking the Templars to occult practices centers on their possible involvement with Gnosticism. Gnosticism, an ancient religious movement that emphasizes esoteric knowledge, gnosis, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment, was declared heretical by early Christian authorities. The Gnostics believed that salvation could be attained through secret knowledge, which was often hidden from the masses. Many scholars and conspiracy theorists suggest that the Templars may have been exposed to Gnostic ideas during their time in the Holy Land, where they would have encountered various Eastern spiritual traditions. Some even argue that the Templars themselves adopted Gnostic beliefs, seeing their mission as a pursuit of hidden, divine wisdom rather than a purely military or religious one. The idea that the Templars were involved in Gnosticism is supported by their secretive nature and the fact that many of their rituals were shrouded in mystery. The Templars' connection to the occult is also linked to their alleged involvement with the mystical tradition of the Kabbalah. Kabbalah, a form of Jewish mysticism that emerged in medieval Spain, explores the hidden dimensions of reality and the nature of the divine. Kabbalistic teachings focus on the idea that the physical world is merely a reflection of higher, spiritual realities, and that through the study of sacred texts and meditation, one can gain access to secret knowledge that reveals the true nature of existence. Some researchers suggest that the Templars, while based in Jerusalem and surrounding regions, may have come into contact with Kabbalistic traditions and incorporated these teachings into their own practices. The use of symbolism in Templar rituals, such as the geometric shapes found in their architecture and the intricate designs of their seals, is seen by some as evidence of Kabbalistic influence. The Templars' belief in the power of symbols and sacred geometry, which can be found in many of their structures and rituals, resonates with Kabbalistic principles, which see the universe as a complex web of interconnected forces. The Templars' association with the occult is also tied to their secretive rites and ceremonies, many of which are believed to have had mystical significance. It is well documented that the Templars had a series of initiation rituals, during which new members were introduced to the order and bound by oaths of secrecy. While much of the specifics of these rituals remain unknown, the fact that they were conducted in private, with initiates being sworn to silence, has led many to speculate that these rites were not merely ceremonial, but contained deeper spiritual or occult significance. The most famous of these rituals involves the so-called Baphomet idol, a mysterious figure that some believe was worshipped by the Templars. The idol was described in confessions extracted during the Templar trials of the early 14th century as a pagan deity, often depicted as a humanoid figure with both male and female features. The association of the Templars with Baphomet has long been a subject of speculation. While there is no conclusive evidence to suggest that the Templars actually worshipped this figure, the fact that they were accused of such practices has added to the mystique surrounding the order and fueled many theories about their occult connections. The concept of Baphomet itself is shrouded in mystery. Some scholars suggest that the image of Baphomet was not an actual idol, but rather a representation of esoteric knowledge or a symbol of duality. The figure's combination of human and animal traits, as well as its gender ambiguity, might have been a symbolic representation of the union of opposites, a key principle in many occult traditions. The idea of duality, particularly the balance between light and dark, male and female, or spiritual and material, is a common theme in occultism, and the Templars' alleged connection to Baphomet may have symbolized their belief in a deeper, hidden truth that transcended conventional religious teachings. Despite the charges of heresy and occultism brought against them during their trials, there is little concrete evidence to suggest that the Templars were actively involved in the kind of dark magic or satanic rituals that later conspiracy theories would suggest. However, the mysterious nature of their activities and the secrecy surrounding their rituals has allowed these ideas to persist in popular culture. The Templars, with their vast wealth, military prowess, and hidden knowledge, became a symbol of hidden power, a power that could not be understood or controlled by the church or secular authorities. The suspicion that they were involved in occult practices has endured as part of their legend, fueling theories that they were engaged in a quest for mystical truths that were deliberately suppressed by the church. In the centuries since the fall of the Templars, the order has been romanticized and mythologized, and their association with the occult has become a cornerstone of their enduring mystique. From the legends of the Holy Grail to the alleged secrets of their initiation rituals, the Templars continue to be a focal point for those interested in hidden knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. Whether or not the Templars were truly involved in occult practices, their legacy remains inextricably linked to the idea of secrecy, forbidden knowledge, and the pursuit of deeper truths that challenge conventional understanding. Ultimately, the connection between the Templars and the occult remains a matter of speculation, conjecture, and intrigue. What is clear, however, is that the Templars were more than just a military order. They were, in many ways, the keepers of a secret history. Whether their knowledge was mystical, philosophical, or spiritual, it remains a central part of their legacy. And while the true nature of their beliefs may never be fully understood, their association with the occult serves as a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the allure of hidden wisdom. The Templars, it seems, will always be more than just knights in armor. They will forever be entwined with the ancient, mystical traditions that continue to capture our imagination. The fall of the Knights Templar in the early 14th century is a historical event that has left a long and lasting legacy of mystery. While many believe the order's wealth and power were its undoing, there are numerous theories suggesting that the Templars were also involved in the discovery, preservation, and possibly the hiding of knowledge linked to ancient, lost lands. These theories, part of a larger tradition of alternative history and exploration, propose that the Templars held secret maps to unknown or mythical places, lands that existed outside the mainstream historical narrative. These locations are often described as sacred or enigmatic, filled with hidden treasures, ancient knowledge, or long-lost civilizations. From the fabled lands of Atlantis to hidden chambers beneath the Temple Mount, the possibility that the Templars were involved in preserving knowledge of lost lands is an idea that continues to captivate the imagination of modern researchers and enthusiasts of the esoteric. The idea that the Templars may have discovered or hidden knowledge of lost lands is closely tied to their extensive travels throughout the medieval world. During their time in the Holy Land, the Templars had access to a wealth of knowledge and artifacts, much of which was considered sacred, mysterious, or even forbidden. Their presence in Jerusalem, as well as other ancient sites, gave them an unprecedented view into the ancient world, and many scholars and theorists believe that they may have encountered lost texts, maps, and artifacts during their time in the East. These discoveries, it is thought, could have led the Templars to uncover the locations of forgotten or mythical places that were hidden from the world by those who sought to keep them secret. One of the most popular theories regarding the Templars and lost lands is their supposed connection to Atlantis. The myth of Atlantis, first introduced by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, describes a vast and advanced civilization that existed thousands of years ago before sinking into the ocean. According to the story, Atlantis was a place of immense wealth, wisdom, and technological sophistication, and its disappearance has been one of the great mysteries of history. Some researchers believe that the Templars may have discovered knowledge of Atlantis, possibly through their travels to Egypt or other ancient civilizations in the East. The Templars' secretive nature, their deep interest in esoteric knowledge, and their association with the ancient world have led many to speculate that they may have hidden the knowledge of Atlantis, perhaps even attempting to preserve its teachings for a future generation. The connection between the Templars and Atlantis is not without its speculative elements, but some of the symbols and rituals associated with the Templar order bear striking similarities to those found in ancient Egyptian and other pre-classical cultures. The Templars were known for their use of sacred geometry, a practice that was prevalent in ancient civilizations such as Egypt and Mesopotamia. The idea that the Templars may have stumbled upon ancient records or artifacts related to Atlantis during their time in the Holy Land has become a central tenet of many theories about the order's hidden knowledge. Some have even suggested that the Templars may have been involved in an effort to protect or locate the lost city of Atlantis, perhaps by hiding its most significant symbols or texts in secret locations. In addition to the theory of Atlantis, there are numerous other legends and stories that claim the Templars were involved in the discovery or protection of lost lands. One such theory suggests that the Templars were custodians of the sacred site known as the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, a place of immense spiritual and historical significance. According to this theory, the Templars discovered hidden chambers beneath the Temple Mount that contained knowledge or artifacts tied to the ancient Hebrew tradition, including the Ark of the Covenant or even the Holy Grail. Some even claim that the Templars used the Temple Mount as a base to explore ancient texts, maps, and records that hinted at the location of lost lands, such as the Garden of Eden or the ancient land of Ophir, a place mentioned in the Bible as a source of immense wealth and treasures. The notion that the Templars were guardians of such sacred knowledge is intertwined with the idea that the order was far more than just a military and religious institution. It was, in many ways, a secret society dedicated to the preservation of ancient wisdom. Many of the Templars' esoteric beliefs and practices seem to align with the idea of hidden knowledge, which included the possibility of finding forgotten or hidden lands or even rediscovering ancient civilizations. The Templars' vast wealth, their connections to the Catholic Church, and their role in the Crusades provided them with the resources to undertake secret explorations, study ancient texts, and uncover the hidden truths of the world. This theme of hidden lands extends beyond the confines of the Holy Land and Jerusalem. Some theories suggest that the Templars were also involved in the exploration of the New World centuries before Christopher Columbus's famous journey. According to these theories, the Templars might have possessed maps or knowledge that led them to the Americas. One of the most famous locations associated with the Templars and the New World is Oak Island, a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. The island has been the subject of numerous treasure hunts over the years, and many believe that the Templars may have hidden a vast treasure there, perhaps containing knowledge of ancient lands or relics that were sacred to them. The island is famous for its mysterious money pit, a deep shaft that has yielded tantalizing clues of hidden treasures, but no conclusive answers. The theory that the Templars hid something important on Oak Island is rooted in the belief that the order was not only concerned with wealth, but also with safeguarding knowledge, whether that knowledge related to the lost lands of Atlantis, the location of the Holy Grail, or some other ancient secret. The idea that the Templars were connected to hidden maps of sacred or mythical places also intersects with the study of medieval cartography. Some historians and researchers suggest that the Templars were in possession of ancient maps that charted the locations of lost lands, sacred sites, or even forgotten civilizations. These maps, it is believed, were carefully guarded by the order and passed down to certain initiates who understood their significance. The idea that the Templars created or held such maps is part of a larger tradition of exploring the hidden geographies of the world, places that are often not recognized in conventional history. In particular, the notion that the Templars possessed maps of ancient places, like Atlantis or the Garden of Eden, suggests that the order may have held the keys to a lost history, a history that modern scholars and historians have either forgotten or deliberately suppressed. These theories are not just confined to ancient maps and texts. They also tie into the Templars' association with sacred sites and landmarks. The Templars were known for their extensive network of castles, fortresses, and churches, many of which were built with precise architectural knowledge. Some researchers suggest that these sites, with their complex geometry and symbolic designs, were meant to encode hidden messages or direct initiates to the locations of sacred or lost lands. One famous example is the Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, which has long been associated with the Templars and their hidden knowledge. The chapel is filled with mysterious symbols, and some believe that it is a map in itself, one that points to hidden treasures or ancient knowledge. The chapel's intricate carvings, including references to the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant, suggest that it may be a place of mystical significance, a site where the Templars safeguarded their most sacred secrets. In the broader context of these theories, the idea of the Templars guarding or hiding knowledge of lost lands is not just a historical curiosity. It is a symbol of the pursuit of hidden truth the uncovering of secrets that have been obscured by time. The Templars, in this view, are seen not only as warriors and monks, but as stewards of a sacred legacy, keepers of knowledge that transcends the ordinary world. The possibility that the Templars knew of, or even protected, lost lands filled with ancient wisdom only adds to the enduring fascination with the Order and its enigmatic history. Whether or not the Templars truly discovered hidden maps or secret locations, the myths surrounding them have inspired generations of explorers, treasure hunters, and researchers. The legacy of the Templars is intertwined with the idea of uncovering the lost chapters of history, places and knowledge that lie just beyond the reach of mainstream scholarship. From the mythical lands of Atlantis to the hidden chambers beneath sacred sites, the search for the Templars' lost lands continues to capture the imagination of those who believe that there is still much more to discover about the ancient world and the secrets that have been hidden for centuries. The legend of the Templar treasure is perhaps one of the most enduring and captivating aspects of the Knights Templar saga. Ever since the Order's dramatic fall in the early 14th century, rumors and tales have circulated regarding a vast treasure that the Templars supposedly amassed during their time in the Holy Land. This treasure, which is said to consist of immense wealth, sacred relics, and esoteric knowledge, has become the stuff of legend, sparking the imaginations of historians, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists alike. Yet, despite centuries of searching, the treasure has never been conclusively found. But does it exist, or is it merely a myth, a product of the Order's mystique and the secrecy that has surrounded them for centuries? To answer this question, we must explore the historical evidence, the theories surrounding the treasure's whereabouts, and the possibility that the Templar treasure is not just a physical hoard, but something far more significant, a key to a greater mystery. The origins of the Templar treasure are shrouded in secrecy. When the Order was founded in the early 12th century, their primary mission was to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. As the Order grew in power and wealth, it began to accumulate resources, including land, fortresses, and trade networks. The Templars were also heavily involved in banking, acting as financial intermediaries for kings, nobles, and even the church. This financial success allowed the Order to amass significant wealth, much of which was stored in hidden vaults across Europe and the Mediterranean. But as the Order's power grew, so did its enemies. In 1307, King Philip IV of France, deeply in debt to the Templars, moved to arrest and disband the Order. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, hundreds of Templar Knights were arrested, tortured, and executed. Their vast holdings were seized, and the Order was officially dissolved by Pope Clement V. According to the traditional narrative, the Templar treasure was lost during this purge. Some believe that King Philip IV and Pope Clement V took the wealth for themselves, while others suggest that the treasure was deliberately hidden by the Templars to prevent it from falling into the hands of their persecutors. The idea that the Templars hid their treasure has given rise to a multitude of theories about its possible location. From secret chambers beneath churches to hidden vaults in remote castles, the search for the treasure has captured the imagination of adventurers and historians for centuries. But is there any evidence to support these claims? Or is the treasure simply a product of myth and legend? One of the most persistent theories is that the Templar treasure was hidden in a secret location, known only to a select few members of the Order. Over the years, many locations have been proposed as the hiding place of the treasure, ranging from well-known sites in Europe to more obscure locations in the Americas. One of the most famous of these theories involves the island of Oak Island in Nova Scotia, Canada. The so-called Oak Island mystery has fascinated treasure hunters for centuries, with claims that the island harbors a vast treasure hidden by the Templars. The island's famous Money Pit, a shaft that has been excavated numerous times, but with no conclusive result, has been the subject of speculation about its possible connection to the Templars. Some believe that the treasure was buried there by the Templars as part of a secret plan to safeguard their wealth from the wrath of the French king. Theories about the Templars' connection to Oak Island have been bolstered by the discovery of strange symbols, artifacts, and mysterious markings on the island, though no definitive evidence has yet been found. Other theories suggest that the treasure was hidden in plain sight, embedded within the architecture and symbols of Templar-related structures. One such location is the chapel at Rosslyn, Scotland, which has long been associated with the Templars. The chapel, with its intricate carvings and mysterious symbolism, has been the subject of intense speculation regarding the existence of hidden treasures.